Assalamu alaikum. Subah wanaksin. Magayega wa Jacob Frey, Yarub, Doka Magalada, Minneapolis. Good morning. My name is Jacob Frey. I'm the mayor of Minneapolis, and I'm here today to discuss some very important work around increasing the wage for Uber and Lyft drivers, those that are involved with our ride-sharing ordinance that was proposed several months ago, and I vetoed it. When I vetoed the previous ordinance, I said very clearly that we needed to work together to find a solution that would raise the wage for drivers in our city. In the meantime, we've been hard at work, working with drivers, advocates, our ride-share company, people with disabilities, and a number of residents who rely on this very important service in our city. The goal has been to drive some form of consensus that would both raise the wages for drivers, which I support entirely, and would keep this very important service operating in our city. We've done a lot of work around that. We were hoping and expecting to get an ordinance in place by the end of this year. However, the public hearing on this ordinance that was set for November 28th has now been delayed. I want to say very clearly to everyone that I'm ready to move forward with an ordinance this year. And it would raise wages and it would raise the rate that drivers get paid by approximately double. The rate that we're talking about and that I would support is $1.17 per mile and 34 cents per minute. This would approximately double the rate of pay for drivers according to the data that we have received. I'm also open to other solutions as well. However, this is the proposal that I will support. This year, we can get it done. When I vetoed the ordinance, there were a number of council members that stated that they wanted to act with urgency and therefore needed to get a dollar figure passed. Now, some of those same council members are saying that they want to delay. I understand an argument that we need to act with urgency. I also understand an argument that we should wait until the task force from the state comes forward with their recommendations. However, you can't have it both ways. So I wanted to come here today to state publicly this is a figure that I would support. If council puts this dollar figure on my desk, I will sign it into law to raise the wage for drivers throughout Minneapolis. This is an important step. It's one that requires collaboration with a number of different parties that don't always agree. So this is something that I would like to see moved forward, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Cali Radio. So why they delayed it?
I don't know. My understanding, based on the email that we received yesterday, is they wanted to evaluate 3 different proposals. And those proposals have different dollar figures attached to them. That being said, I don't want to speak for the council. What I am saying here today is that I, myself, mayor of Minneapolis, am prepared to sign into law a wage increase for drivers this year. I wanted to get that on the record transparently so that there was no dispute. I've made this proposal to them. Again, I'm happy to hear other options, but again, it's not a fair argument to say that both we need to move with urgency and simultaneously we need to wait until next year. I understand both arguments, but you can't hold both at the same time.
The second question, as you know, we have large East African, and their life is transportation, and they do fantastic work for Minneapolis, and thank you for the mayor. So if they requesting, the way I feel, if they requesting $1.40, that could be doable?
So you have referenced a dollar figure that was given out at the very beginning of this process, one that I am not willing to support today because I do simultaneously want to make sure that we have this service in our city. There's no way of ensuring that the service can continue to exist at any figure. However, the figure that I'm proposing would approximately double the rate of pay.
My next question would be, what would get in the way of the bill not going through by the end of the year?
for the bill to move forward, for the ordinance to move forward by the end of this year, it requires the council to move forward in passing it.
So that would be the only delay.
Correct. They need to pass it, and I would need to sign into law. I am publicly saying a figure that I myself would support, which is, again, the $1.17 per mile, the 34 cents per minute, which, at least according to the data that we've seen, is approximately double the rate.
The mayor, if the city council support you, are you willing to do $1.40?
So I think that was the question that you previously asked, I believe.
They support their side.
That was the figure that they had moved forward before without consultation with the rideshare companies. This is an area where we need to work together. We need to increase the wage for drivers, but we don't want to do something that will cause that wage to go away entirely because the rideshare company left. I do think there's always room to talk. There's always room for compromise and negotiation. This is a figure that I'm willing to support. I would support it this year. This is a figure that has been negotiated in depth, is my understanding, by rideshare companies. And there's a number of people, I think, that have, and I want to thank all of the advocates for the rideshare company that have come forward to me. I'm sorry, the advocates for both the rideshare company and the drivers that have come forward to me to explain what they need. And they've made it very clear. The people that I've had in my office, the drivers of Uber and Lyft that I've had in my office, have made it clear. They deserve to get paid more. And I will support them in getting paid more through an ordinance. I would like to see that ordinance passed. I'm willing to support that ordinance being passed this year. They work hard. They're ambassadors for our city. When you get picked up from the airport, perhaps the first face that you see and the first person that you talk to is often an Uber or Lyft driver. We get that. These are extraordinary people. They are deserving of fair pay in our city. They're also deserving of praise. I have never once had a bad experience with one of these incredible drivers. They are part of what makes our city great, and we need to be supporting them, and I'll do that. So this is also me following through on a promise. When I vetoed the last ordinance, I said very clearly that we were going to find a way to increase the pay for drivers. I'm doing my part. We've put a dollar figure on the table. Yes.
Thank you for everything you've been doing for the public. And my question is, when you vetoed the first part, you said it is to find out the best solutions together.
Yes.
How are you going to implement that one? Do you have any committees to work with the drivers, or
Yes.
how is that going to be happening?
Yes, I do have. We have been working with drivers very directly and advocates for drivers around what a wage could ultimately be. And so the answer is yes. That collaboration is important. It's important that we engage both drivers as well as the rideshare companies, because we want to arrive at a dollar figure that works. One that raises the pay for drivers, which is something that I strongly support, and simultaneously it keeps an important service in our city at a rate that people can afford. My hope is that we can move forward with an ordinance, or at least get an understanding for why we're delaying when there was such urgency before. When it was first put on my table, the statement was that we need to act with urgency. Again, I understand that argument. But now the move is to delay and take it off the agenda. Again, I can understand both arguments, but you can't have it both ways.
As said in the statement, you said that you wanted to come to an agreement.
Yes.
January 24th is the date. Is there anything that would get in the way between today and then?
I'm sorry, what is the January 24th date?
That is the agreement presented to the council.
That's what council is proposing.
Oh, that is what they're proposing as a date for
Yes, yep.
For what?
To come to an agreement on the pricing.
I don't think that's, I believe that there is a legislative directive that would have staff come back with an analysis of the pricing. I mean, and so, I mean, what would stop an agreement from taking place is an agreement not taking place.
And my last question is, what have Robin and her colleagues done since the veto, since the veto satisfies the mayor and the veto might not be necessary?
I don't know. I can't speak to what Councilmember Wansley has done. I have met with Councilmember Chavez as well as Councilmember Osman. I believe they have been meeting in good faith. I have provided to them the same dollar figure that I'm providing to you today. My purpose of being here today is transparency. This is a dollar figure that I'm willing to support. I said publicly that I wanted to see wages increased. This is a proposal that I've put out there that I would be willing to sign into law this year.
And the last question, like you said, you supported $1, 17 cents. That's
Yes.
great. So next year could be increased in some good reason coming up.
That is the figure that I would support passing into law.
But like you said, there's a room for negotiation. There can be possibility 2024. It can be go up, put more money there. You think?
I don't want to predict the future as to where exactly this can go. To your point, though, obviously there are factors like inflation that probably could be accounted for. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I think this is my last question. To ask from the side of drivers, the best way to make a negotiation between you and them is to have a representative. What is the best way for the drivers to be represented when they are so divided, to be heard? What do they have to do?
I'm willing to meet with representatives that don't entirely agree. I believe that we have already done that. I've met with Eid from Molda. I have met with members from MIRTA, which is another organization also supporting an increase. And my goal is to try to get an increase in pay for drivers across this city. My message is very clear to all the drivers that are out there watching right now. We need to get to an agreement that increases your rate of pay. That is something that I strongly support. It is something that I said publicly we would try to get to by the end of this year. It is something that I still support getting to by the end of this year. We need to get an increase in pay, and at the same time, again, we need to make sure that this valuable service in our city is utilized, that it continues to exist in Minneapolis, and that people can afford it as well. There's always a balance with any ordinance you pass. We're trying to do it as responsibly as possible, recognizing that the incredible drivers, many of whom are East African, get the pay increase that I believe they deserve. My experience with drivers in this city has been incredible. I mean, some really amazing people, some friends that I have met over the years doing this work. These are ambassadors to our city. They're not just driving from point A to point B. They're, in many cases, a gateway, an ambassador to Minneapolis.
We have seen in Minneapolis and different cities when the different employees go to striking because of their voice is not heard. What are you doing to protect that not to be happening?
Listening to them and trying to get a pay increase.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, sir. All set?
Thank you.
Not Senate. Thank you, everybody.